Hold on one second. We're about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. Y'all remember that song, The Freaks Come Out at Night? Hut, 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 the freaks come out at night. I said the freaks come out at, the freaks come out. The freaks come out at night. The New York mayor's race is getting to the point to where the freaks are coming out. They had a rally last night, and I just want to point some things out to you. I want you to look at the people in the background of this rally and tell me if you've ever seen anything like this in your entire life. Never mind orange, teal, green, and brown. What is that right there? What is that right there? What's going on right here? It's about to get real interesting, but let's start with AOC popping off at the mouth.
No matter what he's doing, that house doesn't belong to him, New York. It belongs to us. It belongs to the people of this country. And I want us all to remember and to know that the future, our future, is not determined by a despot in a house built by enslaved people. Our future will be determined not in a house built by slaves, but in a city built by freemen, in a city built by unionists and immigrants and suffragists. The bricks laid by working people, past, present, and future, the seamstresses and the unionists who paid for our rights in blood. This city was built by the Irish escaping famine, Italians fleeing fascism, Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country, in a vision to build the freest, toughest, and greatest city on earth, and we will not stop now, New York. It is no surprise. NYC, baby, NYC. It is no surprise.
Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say this before I go on to the next clip. New York City, you kind of deserve what you're about to get. And I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to tell you why you deserve what you're about to get. You see, the elitists of New York City, you knew that this criminal overtaking of communists and socialists were bubbling up. And many of you gave money to it. You just didn't think that it was going to come to New York City. Yeah, many of you supported this when you thought it was going somewhere else. Many of you supported the mass immigration when you thought it was going somewhere else. And then it was too late. Then it snuck in on you. Now, I want you to notice that although this is a Democrat crowd, the people of color, the black folks, is suspiciously missing from the crowd. I'll try and find an image of the crowd and show it to you right now. Here's the rally. Here's the crowd. I want you to notice the POCs, as they like to talk about it,
for being
are suspiciously missing. To make it bigger. That's way too big. There we go. Make it bigger the way you can see it. I want you to realize they are missing from this crowd. But this is their large rally. Zoom in. Zoom in. I'm going to pause it. Hold on. Let me pause it. All right, I'm going to hit pause and unpause, and you say bingo when you see a Negro. 1, bingo. 2, bingo. 3, bingo. 4, bingo. Wait, one way up there in the corner. Nope, that's a case of mistaken identity. One right there, bingo. I think I counted him already. Nope. She just looked. Nope.
I joined DSA because I saw power in our movement.
You see anybody? You see anybody? You see anybody?
Characters like Julia Salazar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez take on political dynasties and big.
What's significant about this? You need that vote in order for you to do anything in New York City. And I'm telling you right now, they don't have that vote. You want to know why? Because people about to sit on their hands. Hold on. And this gentleman right here is going to articulate this oh so well to everybody's understanding. Because they want you to believe that they have a strong coalition. No, they got a strong voter fraud network. And it's being said that 130,000 votes were casted early compared to the normal 31,000 votes. You are witnessing the steal of New York City. You're watching the conquering of New York City. Remember, I told you guys, if we went to our mayoral, we talked about why this was being done. And I predicted it would be done.
So never has the black vote ever been as important to Democrats as it is right now in this New York City mayoral election. But interestingly enough, you don't really see the leading candidate talking to black folks. And I'll just say the so-called leading candidate. But here's the interesting part. Black people have been, for the most part, pretty silent this election cycle. And I think that's noticeable. And I think one of the reasons why they've been so quiet this election is because they're starting to realize, we are all starting to realize that our collective interests have been wholly ignored by Democrats. And especially the ultra progressive wing that we see that is taking over the Democrat Party. A lot of our so-called progressive allies continue to push politics that have an imminent destructive impact on the black community. Yet when you try to pull their coat to it and try to make them aware, hey, if you do that, that's going to have a harmful impact on us. You know what those white progressives do that are out there screaming and yelling with the blue hair? You know what they do when you try to warn them about the dangers of their policies? They laugh at you. They tell you, you being a black person, that you're being divisive, that you're even a racist, or you're a phobe, you're a transphobe, you're a homophobe, you're anti-immigrant. But notice, I think black people are really starting to see that the pro-civil rights people and the justice warriors have walked away from the black community at large, because we're not as important as the other groups that are being prioritized. And when you look at the politics, you're seeing that a lot of these socialist leaning politics, while they feel good and they sound good, they ultimately lead to devastation, especially for poorer communities.
Brother, let me tell you something. You've been living under socialism. That's what you've been in every blue city. It just wasn't open socialism. You know, they've never had your best interest at heart. If they had your best interest at heart, then they wouldn't have opened the borders and wouldn't have flooded your neighborhoods with illegal alien criminals while telling you that, hey, shut up. You're racist. Shut up. You're homophobic. Shut up. You're this. No, they never had your best interest in heart. This mayor's election, which Zohran Mamdani will win, I predict he will win it. This mayor's election, which Zohran Mamdani will win, is absolutely necessary to break the stronghold that the Democrat Party has on the African American community and the American Latino community. The actual citizens who grew up in America. This will break their stronghold, their grip and their grasp upon those two demographics. But people have to see it. I hate it. You should learn from the mistakes of other people. But when you think about it, there's no civics in school anymore. So you don't really learn about what happened in fascism. You don't learn about Mussolini. You don't learn about any of these things because that's been taken out of school. So from a civics engagement standpoint, the only way for people to learn is to see the policies in action. And oh boy, are they about to see the policies in action. Oh boy, are they about to come. Hold on. Let's go to Miro. And I'm going to prove the point to you guys that we have been predicting this. Because somebody will say, well, you ain't been predicting this. This is why we have our Miro board. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know about this board where we've been tracking events. And you know, we talked about the psychological operation that was going against the United States of America, which is Islam, LGBTQ, and then wokeism. And then we talked about the woke family. And then we talked about particularly the danger of liberal white women. This is the consortium that's been arranged against you. Wokeism, and this woke family of people is socialists, communists, all of that, Satanists, they're all a part of wokeism. Now, when we start talking about the Islam versus the world, this is when I brought up Zohran Mamdani to you. And I started showing you the comparison between Zohran and Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan was the one that was elected as the mayor of London, which was the financial capital of the world over there. That's what London is. And I said they're going to target New York City. And so here he comes and he targets New York City. Now, what has happened in London since Sadiq Khan has come into power? And I want you to understand, if we end up getting a socialist in the White House, which I seriously doubt that, then you will see the exact same thing. You'll see Sharia law legalized there like it's here like it is there. You'll see the rape and the murder and the pillaging and everything else that went on in London. But we've been predicting this for a while. And I've said this. There are people in America who have to see this for what it is. And it's not me and you. And that's where the frustration comes in. The frustration comes in because it's not you that need to see it. It wasn't you that needed to see back in the day when Eric Adams right here was defending the illegal aliens. And he was like, these are all residents. You didn't need to see that, Eric. You didn't need to see that. You knew that Eric Adams was making a mistake. You knew it. But Eric Adams, dumb behind, had to see it. He had to see it. And therein lies a problem with the pride of men. They have to see for themselves. And then I explained to you, we use Prophet Hubert Angel to explain to you what Islam was. Let me make sure this is on the screen. So those of you who don't understand what Islam is and what you're up against, we'll go back to Prophet Hubert Angel and have the wonderful prophet talking about what it actually is. Give me a second.
This is something that came to me as a very, very important stage in the revelations of God to me. That you have seen the plan of Muslims. It's not a religion. It's a political ideology. And the plan is to take over. You've seen it.
Yes, sir.
And you've seen in Britain, they have gotten a hold of important seats. The Lord said, I am not blind. As I've told you about Christian jihadi.
Yes, sir.
God said, I am working behind the scenes. And a revolt is coming, it is gathering. Because Britain was sleeping, but it's now awake.
Wow.
So even America is waking up. Europe is waking up.
Wow.
So do you ever heard them, their boisterous lips, speaking boisterous things, boasting that they are taking over and they will kill everyone and they will do this and they will do this. He said, I made them talk. Because if they had not shown their boast, the British, the Americans, the Western world, the Europeans would not have seen it. So what angers you as Christians and what frightens you, do not be frightened, he says. Amen. So the Lord said, do not be frightened.
Amen.
Do
Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you've seen this message over and over and over again. And when you look at it, they've been boasting and bragging and talking reckless, and that's all they do all over the place. And it's more than just them. It's the communists, it's the socialists, it's the Satanists, it's the LGBT. Everybody's boasting and bragging all over the place. That brings me back to my point that I was making, which is, people have to see it. You got to see it for what it is. It's got to be broken off people. They need to see this for what it is. Prior to us having the No Kings rally, we had a revelation of who was supporting this stupidity, right? Then when we had the No Kings rally, we saw the old geriatric nursing home people go out into the streets. We came to the realization that it's the Woodstock children who are now rebelling against this nation. We go back to the Woodstock generation. Generation before Woodstock was probably one of the greatest generations there were, which were the ones who fought the wars. And so it's the children of war, the children of the greatest people in the history of the United States of America that are actually supporting the stupidity. From a spiritual perspective, they rejected God because their parents were so pro-God and pro-nation and pro-country. And so then when the time came, they went out, I'm going to run around in the woods and fly like around the woods. And I'm naked and I'm running around and I'm free. Oh, I'm free. And then they had kids. And then their kids had kids. By the time their kids had kids, they got bull rings in their nose, purple hair, and they're stark, raving, mad lunatics. And that's what we're dealing with. It's really that simple. That's what we're dealing with. Back to the brother who was talking, because that's where we were initially. He was explaining that he's come to the realization, many black people come to the realization that, they don't really care about you. But I said they never have, and they never will.
See, socialist politics are pretty good when you don't stand to be a victim of the consequences of those policies because you're already insulated from a position of privilege. But when you actually look at those policies, you'll see how it will lead to the imminent displacement of black and Hispanic people in New York City. So I think people are waking up, and I think people are going to get a really big surprise this election. There's a huge voter turnout for early voting right now. And outside of the loud screaming people who are screaming at the poll site I just left, who are saying trans rights, the overwhelming majority of people that I have spoken to, they're all voting for Cuomo. So my point is, black people, you stand now at a crossroads where your vote is going to determine your value, your leverage, your position, your capital, or it's going to make you permanently irrelevant. The choice is yours.
Hey, I'm not from New York, so I'm hoping he's right, but I don't think he is. I'm hoping the brother right. I'm hoping the early voting is all the blacks and all the Latinos from New York going and saying, we're not having this. We're going to get rid of this dude. I hope he's right. Kind of, I want to see him go through it. Part of me does. But maybe it was enough to scare him. Only God knows. I'll tell you this much, God's judgments are perfect and his ways are perfect. He knows just how much you need to scare you back on track. He knows just how much to let hit you in order for you to bend your will. So maybe that's what God is doing. I don't know. But I don't see it that way. Lord, if that's what you're doing, I reveal it to us all together at the same time, please. But what I'm saying is this. If and when they allow this dude to go into office, boy, all the people who say my vote don't count, oh, you're going to find out how much your vote counts. All them people who say, well, Donald Trump is the devil and Donald Trump, everybody who blamed everything on Donald Trump, you going to learn, boy, you going to wish that you had some Donald. All the people that was encouraged them to run him out of the city. Remember, they went to Trump Towers and was protesting. All the people, all the paid protesters took all the money. Boy, y'all going to learn when they bring them Muslims in. You going to learn when they start running down the streets talking about we your enemy and we going to kill you. You going to learn. Yeah, you going to learn. You going to learn. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hoping for the worst. I'm hoping that they get a taste of the medicine so they stop being retarded. But here's a gentleman in Times Square saying that he's voting for Curtis Sliwa because he definitely ain't voting for Zohran Mamdani.
I'm here in Times Square. I just met this guy, Ali. Ali, who are you voting for in the New York City elections?
So it's funny, but I'm a liberal, but I'm going to vote for Curtis Sliwa, right? For a few reasons. First reason is I'm a diehard New Yorker. I was born and raised here. I grew up in Coney Island. And since the 80s, I've been seeing the guardian angels patrolling the subway. You know what I mean? I was very, very young, but I remember watching the guardian angels with the red hats, patrolling the subways, patrolling Coney Island. Coney Island used to be crime city. Like, we know the amusement park, but I grew up there. Besides the amusement park, there used to be a lot of robberies, a lot of bottle attacks, a lot of crazy shit. So the guardian angels have been out there since the 80s. I've been seeing them since I was a very, very small child in the 80s. If anybody deserves to be the mayor, it's somebody who's been putting in their work. I don't even know when he started the Guardian Angels, but I remember from the late 80s when I was a very small child. So, if anybody deserves to be the mayor, it's somebody who's been putting in their own work without no kind of, like, nobody told him to do that. He literally did that on his own, right? And I respect that. If anybody deserves to be the mayor, it should be him.
Random black dude saying he ain't voting for Zohran Mamdani. I would love to be in New York and just poll people, hey, you voting for Zohran? And see what they got to say. I don't find any evidence of anybody doing that. I would love to see what the average New York citizen is saying. But with that being said, man, I'm torn. Part of me won't see New York get their issue. Because I think it's the only way they learn. But we'll see. Maybe I don't have enough faith in the American people's intelligence. It's just, damn, man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. And here's why Tucker Carlson is being hated from all sides. Because there's this narrative, right wing, left wing, same bird. And they're right on that. But there are two different birds. And see, Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene are both on a whole different bird. They're on the bird that's attacking the uniparty bird. And so the uniparty is pouring resources into getting rid of both of them. And then he comes out and he says something very important. He says there is no MAGA if we don't get rid of people like Lindsey Graham. And this is the kind of stuff and Thomas Massey, this is the kind of stuff that they cannot have Tucker Carlson doing. That's why everyone's going at Tucker Carlson's neck, because he's holding people accountable. You say there's MAGA, make America great again. Okay, we need to deal with these people who are not for making America great.
Support in his district in Kentucky, even though it looks online like he is just the worst human being on the planet. But no, it's just not the case.
So Massey has gotten in a fight, like a personal fight with the president. And unfortunately, I think it has gotten personal. I should say I don't agree with Massey's more libertarian than I am. But of all the members other than you of the Congress that I know a lot of them, he's the most principled. He's also a thoroughly decent man, like actually. And his personal life, and I know a lot about it, is like one of the most impressive things I've ever heard. He is self-reliant in the most American sense. This is a guy who lives off-grid in a house he built himself. And every one of his votes is a vote on principle. So I don't know how you couldn't admire a guy like that. I get that he annoys the president personally. Got it. But I don't think there are many people in the country who live out Donald Trump's own stated principles more precisely than Thomas Massey does. What the hell is going on that he is a target, but Lindsey Graham has an endorsement? And by the way, I just want to say clearly, I will do everything I possibly can to make sure Lindsey Graham is not reelected. Not because I like Lindsey Graham personally, he's a super charming, nice guy. But if Lindsey Graham continues to get elected, then the whole MAGA thing is totally fake. It's just fake. So, like, what is this? Most coffee companies sell weakness, watered down drinks from Facebook. Ooh, even stronger. It's not.
I think that's a great question. I love Donald Trump. I do. I love the guy. I sincerely say it all the time.
I don't know what the hell just happened with that clip where it started replaying. The issue is there has to be Wow. The issue really is there's outside influences that are in control that deals have to be made in order for, or deals are being made. They don't have to be made. Deals are being made to get access to certain things. But I agree with him. Lindsey Graham must go. I don't care for Thomas Massey either. I'm sorry. I personally believe Thomas Massey must go because you can have as many principles as you want. You're going to be as principled as you want. But when you do things that are destructive to a movement, and you obstruct the movement along with Democrats, which is what Thomas Massey does, then we have an issue. So I think Lindsey Graham and Thomas Massey must go. And I know Thomas Massey, whatever he wants to say about Thomas being a off-grid human being and blah, blah, get your ass out the way, Thomas Massey, so we can get what we need to get. And this is the crazy thing. The left, it's almost as if the right can see psychological operations that's run by the left against them. But it's not like it's almost like you can't see the psychological operations run by the right against the right. It's like it's a blind spot to everybody. Like you can see when the left runs a psychological operation. Zohran Mamdani and his mom, who came from another country to take over New York, and people can call it out immediately. But when Lindsey Graham or Mike Johnson or one of the other rhinos is running a psychological operation against the right, it's like people are blind to it. That's a very dangerous blind spot for everybody. Dangerous blind spot. So we'll see how the New York mayor's race turns out. I'm also interested in see how the New Jersey governor's race turns out. I think that's on the 4th of November or the 7th of November. We're about to get a real indicator as to where America stands. We really are. We're going to see where America stands, and we're also going to get a real indicator on where the election theft operation stands, if it's still as strong as it was. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one on the James Williams Dark Waters, I'm out of here.